All right, so we're recording now. I guess we can let it go. This is a prototype thing to see how this conversation gonna go. So I thought let's do like a past future thing for this. It's gonna be what do we say the topic was again, Chris? For the past, we're gonna talk about the WCW
invasion angle. Yep.
The invasion angle and how it went and how it could have gone. We can talk about for present. Let's talk about the Roman Reigns Empire. And I know we all probably know just a little bit about that. We haven't been keeping up as much as I know we could have, but it's not that complicated. But for the future, picked Simone Johnson, the Rock's daughter, and for developmental. All right, for the developmental podcast. Used to back in the day we used to call it the Bros to WrestleMania.
Bros to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm gonna scratch that because I think Vince McMahon would sue. So
Yeah, right.
We've now evolved to the developmental podcast. What's the developmental podcast we came up? It's an idea that me, Joe, Haynes came up. Chris Haynes. I'm gonna say Haynes because I'm Chris as well. So it's our Fagan or Haynes, and then Joe Schmo. This is a whole conversation about the developmental stage, like for past, present, and future, like storylines and character development that went well, and what ways to improve it, or what went wrong, and what could have been done to make it better, things that are going on currently, storylines or character development that and what their directions could be. To improve it, or if they're going well, or if they're going horrible. We're going to talk about that, and then for the future, characters who are or athletes who haven't yet made it into the main stage yet, or from other companies, other wrestling organizations, like and see if they are good fits. And we'll talk about their characters and the development stage that they're in, and where they could be in the WWE. Mainly, I know you two probably more than me have watched other organizations than me, but me personally, I've always been WWE since I've never really watched WCW, any of the other stuff like Impact, AEW, anything. I didn't even watch WCW back until now.
Wow.
Well, real quick, let's introduce, because this is the first time we're doing this kind of a show. Joe, real quick, introduce yourself. Let them know how much of a super fan you are and why you deserve to be on the developmental podcast.
My name is Joe from Clear Lake, like long walks on the beach. I've been watching wrestling at least since the Attitude Era, so late 90s, WrestleMania 17 in Houston. I mean, probably even before that. And I took a little bit of a hiatus somewhere in the middle, but, I really followed WWE more than any of the other promotions. But, I still a huge fan, love the sport, still watch it today, and that's about it.
And Chris Haynes, the fake ass Booker T. Washington, I'm gonna call you. Tell them what the problem is, Book.
Well, my name is Chris Haynes. I've been a wrestling fan ever since I was a kid, going all the way back to the Hulk Hogan days. That's what actually got me into wrestling, Hulk Hogan, and I had all of the action figures, all of the wrestling men. I went to the shows. One show in particular that I went to that really stood out is WrestleMania. The WrestleMania, I think it was WrestleMania 2 when Stone Cold was fighting The Rock. That's one really, really important WrestleMania. I went to that one. But yeah, I've been a fan of wrestling for a very long time. Like Joe said, I kind of took a little hiatus recently, but happy to be back.
Yep. And for Chris Fagan, for all you guys, you already know me. I'm the guy from the Talking Through the Medias, and real quick, that's what the developmental podcast is going to be filtered through, the Talking Through the Medias podcast, and partially on the YouTube channel. Maybe not. We'll figure it out. But I've been a wrestling fan since who got me into wrestling? My mama, because she thought that Bret the Hitman Hart was so damn fine. So we going, babe. No, actually, my mother. It was back in the '80s. We were at a fast food restaurant, and you know how back in the day they used to have those little those little contests. They have like a little box, and you tear off a little ticket. You can fill out the little ticket form and fold it up and shove it into the little box and win a contest. And that's what it was. I ripped it off. My mom helped me fill it out, put my name on it or her name on it or whatever, all our information. We was like, nobody ever wins these things, and we won. And we went, and we got free tickets to a wrestling, a pay-per-view, a main event thing. And ever since then, my mom's been a huge fan. We've been watching wrestling ever since, and we've been trying to be going to shows and stuff. And it turned me into a huge wrestling fan. And I watched nothing but WWF till it became WWE. I never even watched, like I said, WCW, none of that stuff until it got absorbed by Vince McMahon. I even met them when I worked overseas. I even met Vince McMahon.
Right.
And John Cena, and then I'll get into that in some other show in the future. But right now, let's get into the developmental stage. Like I said, we're going to talk about something from the past, present, and future. So, real quick, Haynes, we agreed that for the past, let's talk about what was the subject line you want to talk about?
Basically, it was about the invasion angle. What you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. Probably where WWE
for those that don't
improved
remember.
on.
And for those who don't remember, what was the invasion storyline?
So the storyline was that these WCW guys are basically they were invading WWE, trying to take over. I don't know if you remember, that was the time where Shane McMahon actually bought WCW, and he surprised Vince McMahon, and they were supposed to come in and take over. So it all boiled down to you had the WWF team WWF versus team WCW, and winner takes all. Whoever won was going to take everything.
Did y'all see that when that happened live? When they broke into the feed of WCW and it went live on both shows at the same time, and I saw it. I was watching of course I was watching WWF at the time, and when they did that, and then and for the first time I started switching. I was like, oh shit, there goes Mr. Man on that. There you go. We did it. We fought those weak ass motherfuckers. Cool. They lost.
Are you talking about the time when DX were outside of WCW?
No,
not that time.
No, that day when he made the announcement that he bought the competition, and then Shane broke into the feed and said, "I actually bought WCW." They went. Yeah. That happened live on WWE, but they also aired it live on WCW. The feed that Vince McMahon that announcement was aired at the same time on both WCW and WWE at the same time. Joe, did you see that when it happened?
Yeah, I think it actually happened in Tampa Bay because I was watching WWE that night, and I think it was Monday Night Raw. I was watching. And then suddenly they did a cut to WCW, and I thought something was wrong with the television. I was like, what are they doing? And then they showed Shane McMahon on the Titantron, and he was just like, what kind of city you in? This is Tampa Bay. This ain't even a real city. And this and that, or maybe Vince was saying that. I don't know. Somebody was. And then he came on there, and he was basically saying, that's why I'm taking over, and now I own WCW. And I was like, wow, I did not see that coming.
Did you? I thought I was okay. Well, I personally didn't like the fact that they went with the whole Shane McMahon undercutting his dad thing. I was like, I felt like that wasn't necessary. I thought it was going to be more of Vince McMahon just bought WCW, and then and maybe what's his name, who was the head of WCW at the time, who invented the Elimination Chamber? What's his name?
Eric Bischoff?
Yeah, Bischoff. I thought it was just going to be a fight between Eric Bischoff and him. I didn't think they needed Shane. They did like a McMahon versus McMahon thing. I thought that was kind of weak, but that's just personally.
Right.
I thought it was.
Then they had Stephanie. Stephanie? She took over ECW. There was just too much going on.
I thought that was the most ridiculous part. But I like, Stephanie, you're real fucking extreme. It should have been. It just should have been the CEOs or former CEOs of those organizations just fighting against Vince McMahon. That's all it should have been. That's kind of like, as at first it looked like Paul Heyman. He led his ECW team down the ramp. They were, but y'all forgot about ECW, and it should have been Bischoff and his boys. That's what. But then it just turned into a McMahon family feud. Like, feel like Thanksgiving at my house.
Yeah, it was kind of watered down, even though Paul Heyman was a part of the whole ECW thing at the time, but they still made Stephanie the head of ECW, and I'm like, no, put Paul Heyman in the forefront, like make him the leader of the ECW, but it wasn't extreme.
It wasn't at all. It was the weakest thing. Yeah. What about the storylines inside? Anybody remember any of the? I remember Stone Cold deciding to be the leader of WCW.
That was stupid to me.
Yeah, that was the twist. I think even Stone Cold, he was trying to remember, because I listened to a few of his podcasts a while back, and there were things that the listeners were asking him that he couldn't even remember. But the one thing he did remember was when he was the leader, of the Resistance, or WCW, and he actually didn't like that idea. He thought, everything they had built up with, him and Vince and being against the Authority, and so it just didn't really kind of fit his persona. But he went with it because that was what was written.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense. Because, but you would have to try to appeal to the like play devil's advocate. I guess they were trying to appeal to the WWF or WWE fans, because if you were a WWE fan like me and hated everything else, WCW, the ECW, never watched it, then you would need somebody you really love to jump ship, because it would make you probably invest in, if WCW wins, at least Stone Cold survives or something like that. But because if you would have had DX, The Rock, and The Undertaker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin on one side, I don't give a damn who was on the other side. The WWE fans was not going to think they were going to win. Like, they would be like, fuck Sting, fuck all y'all, fuck the NWO. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter to the WWE fans. So I think that's why, like, Shawn Michaels?
Well, yeah, that's to the hardcore WWE fans. But then you have people like me. I watch WCW, and even though I still would have probably want WWF to win at the time, but it just would have been a better storyline if you had Austin, Rock, who else did they have? Kurt Angle, Kane, Undertaker on this side, but then on the WCW side you had Sting, Goldberg, Hogan. Like, come on, that would have been.
It would have been better that way, because it would have felt like they would have had to earn their spot. Booker T stayed on his side, and he was a champion at the time. I give them credit for that. I remember that. They when he first walked in, they jumped him, they fucked with him and messed with him a little bit. But he clawed his way to the top and got the respect of the WWE. And I thought that's how they should have handled it with all of them. But that's it.
Yeah, but if you think about it, other than Booker T and a few other people, they really didn't have any main event players on the WCW side. They were having people like Lance Storm, and
Goldberg even dropped out. I think after he bought it, he didn't like the idea of being bought by WWE.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of them didn't come in. Right?
Yeah, it took him 2 years. Then fast forward, Rock was going into his Hollywood career, so the perfect send off, is to get buried. And that's when Goldberg debuted. And, after The Rock had finally beat Austin the day after WrestleMania, after their third match. And then he's like, I've beaten everybody. I have no one left to beat. And Vince somehow convinced him to jump on board. And that's when he debuted and beat The Rock. And then, went on to have his WWE career. So. And
then I heard, I think it was, I want to say Kevin Nash. And I watched this interview of Kevin Nash talking about it. And basically he said it all boiled down to, a lot of these WCW stars had egos, huge egos, and they were used to being at WCW, getting these huge contracts, and not even having to work as many days. They could come into work. They pretty much ran WCW.
They were writing their own storylines.
Exactly.
And I heard a lot of the when the invasion and stuff started to happen, a lot of the WWE fans, especially the ones who used to be WCW and then started getting fame in WWE, were upset, because it was like, I don't ever want to see these people again, and I had a bad experience over there. I don't want them coming up. They really started to bring a them versus us kind of a feel to it. But I thought that was good. That was the good thing about it. Make them earn it. Yeah, remind their asses that they should have jumped ship years ago. That's what y'all lost, motherfucker. This is it. Spoils of war. Y'all bitch ass lost. Yeah, now welcome back to the back of the line, bitch. That's how I felt. but I understood because remember what's his name? Does it Double J Jeff? Was it Jeff Jarrett?
Jeff Jarrett.
Remember when Jeff Jarrett when he screwed over Vince and almost didn't give the belt to China? We'll probably talk about that in another show. But when he started to get some fame in WCW, and then it felt like 2 days later, it felt like Vince McMahon done bought the company, and you already knew who was not going to come in.
Jeff Jarrett.
Double J. Jeff Jarrett was the first person on the list to not ever come back. And I don't think he ever did.
No,
I don't think he ever came back, did he?
Like a few years ago, but not. He came back for one segment a few years ago, but nothing.
Like he'll probably.
I think he's a producer now for the.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that if they got over any issues. I'm glad about that. But what about? So let's real quick before we move on to the next story. We'll go to the present real quick. Anything else that they could have improved on that you thought that? Let's not talk about the DX versus NWO stuff yet, because that's a whole separate conversation. Just in general with the invasion, what do you guys think they could have did to improve it, or do you think it worked out pretty well by itself?
I think it worked out pretty well for what they had. I'm just saying, and I just feel like it could have been way better, honestly.
Yeah.
But for what they had, it was good. It was good. It was interesting. I could definitely say that.
I guess for me, the only thing is that it was just disappointing that I understood something like Double J. I understood why he wasn't called in after the way he left. But a lot of the superstars like Sting in the beginning of it and all that, who refused to come in and refused to work with it, that was disappointing. I wish they would have saw the writing on the wall. It's like, look, this was for a while WCW was beating WWE, but in the end, Vince McMahon he won, and y'all should put your ego aside and at least go back to work, because the one thing about the wrestling business is if the fans aren't seeing you, like they used to seeing you, that you will be replaced easily. So I think I understand a lot of them with their egos and being upset with Vince McMahon, but I think a lot of them regret, not coming in when they had an opportunity, and then coming in when it was already, kind of too late.
Yeah, it was too late.
They said that Vince McMahon, the reason why he won was because Vince McMahon, WCW was good at putting on big shows, but Vince McMahon was the best at making individual superstars. You can make a better show than him, maybe, but he can turn a single person into a star, and he had more single stars than they had on the other side. But what about you, Joe? What do you real quick? What do you think could have been done to improve the invasion?
Well, I don't know if it's maybe a little off topic, but I think, I guess I'll get into that in another show. But the invasion, at least from what I remember, I thought it was pretty good. Bringing in Goldberg sooner would have been nice, but that was their hands were tied and couldn't really do anything about that. But yeah, like y'all were talking about earlier, where they could have did a true top 5 WWE, true top 5 WCW.
That's what everybody wanted.
5 versus 5, because it would have been cool to see Austin, Triple H, The Rock, Undertaker, Kane, Kurt Angle all on one team,
Blur the lines a little bit depending on who's winning. How right now how you have the Fiend and then Bray Wyatt, how he'll snap in and out of character like that. You could have been in a situation where they were in a Survivor Series, and then next thing you know, the Titantron starts glitching, and it's Halloween Havoc. What the fuck is going on? This is this is glitching again. These invasion motherfuckers they fucking everything up.
Because I want to say the invasion happened earlier. I can't remember exactly when, but I know it was the second half of the year, I think. So they could have built that storyline for a Survivor Series. 5 versus 5.
5
And
versus
then
5, yeah.
and then think about all of the individual matches that could have came out of that, like Undertaker
Yeah.
versus Sting. You know,
That
we
should
could have.
have been happened.
Yeah,
That's what
that's very true.
everybody felt like that Sting was the equivalent of the Undertaker.
Undertaker,
And that
yeah.
match never happened, did it?
Never happened.
Like
Never
even
happened.
that last match that he was supposed to have that he had before he got injured that one time, that should have been against the Undertaker. That was the one match that would have fit. I mean, you could have had Undertaker come into the ring and then Sting do his thing where he's like up in the
sky, like the rafters
in the sky, and just standing there looking at him, and then Undertaker looking up at him like what you gonna do? What you gonna do? I'm here. Like that should have happened day one. Because if you watch the WCW and the Monday Night Wars, they talk about that. Like Sting and the Undertaker were like the cornerstones of both organizations. Everything was all centered around or around them. Like they were the like almost like a foundation of the most loyal people.
I heard about that. I heard about both
that. Mm-hmm. Like Sting was loyal to WCW, loved it. Undertaker loyal. Even though he did go work in both companies, but the character Undertaker when he became that was it. He was WWE for life.
Because they wrestled against each other, but they wasn't the characters. Yeah,
it wasn't the characters. Yeah, I don't care about that shit.
Nobody counts that. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the present. Roman Reigns has now the name Roman Empire now makes fucking sense now.
The tribal chief.
Now this tribal chief thing, where like to me this is like his attitude. Like ever since he got with Paul Heyman and whatnot. To me, he's tapped into the character that he was when he first came in with the Shield. This is the same. Right. This is the same guy. This is that character.
Right.
This is that character like better management. This is the Shield character with Paul Heyman managing him now. It's the same feeling, and it feels right. It feels like it feels more authentic. I feel like this is the Roman Reigns. Like remember when they tried to make him a face and smiling all the time? He was too happy and. What do y'all think about?
Like you said, it wasn't authentic. It was not authentic.
Well, that's the thing. I think with Roman, this is the character he was meant to be, that he could embrace. You know, I think when they forced him to be a face and the smiling and then trying to run promos, the boos really got to him. And, it really affected him when they did that fourth wall promo when he did with Cena. And that was probably like one of the biggest reactions he got because he really like got caught up on his lines, Cena was like, it's okay, take your time,
Oh man, you remind me of that. You mean when John Cena, I get it to John Cena. Just like in a hip hop battle, he saw that opening and he could have been nice about it and let it slide, but he went for the damn throat.
He went for the kill, man.
That was kill.
I felt so bad for Roman.
I did too, and I'm like, I was like, and that was one thing I was always thinking, why couldn't they make him the way he was when he debuted with the Shield? Man, a few words, words. Go out there, tear the house down, walk away. That's it.
Because it's not like he doesn't have mic skills. It's not like his mic skills wasn't going to get better. It's just that it felt like Brock Lesnar. It felt written. That's perfect. And Brock Lesnar learned that a long time ago. It's like Batista in the WWE, not in the WWE. It's like Batista in his movies. Batista is not the best actor in the world, and the first person to tell you that is Batista.
It's Batista, right?
He knows this, but when you put Batista with the right director, like the man who did the Guardians of the Galaxy, he knew how to edit Batista. He knew how to direct him. And they can capture that perfect comedic timing that Batista was good at. That nobody knew how funny he could be.
He is funny to me.
But that director knew how to shoot it. He knew how to write it. And that's how you direct him. And that's what the problems that they did with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is great on the mic. He's real good. But as long as he's keeping it like those little bits, that it's like what he did to his cousin recently. Man, he talks 10 times more than Brock Lesnar ever did.
Oh yeah,
he'll take the mic away from Paul Heyman and he'll start talking. but just a little bit of what he said was enough. When was it Jimmy? Is it Jimmy? Who is he fighting?
Jay. I think it was Jay.
No, he's
Jay.
fighting.
Jay.
He's fighting Jay.
Fighting Jay.
So
And Jay was like,
that's right.
what did he say? I hate you. I hate you. And what? And all Roman said was, it's okay.
I love
Yeah, man, I'm really loving the new Roman character. Like he made me want to buy merch that night. Changed over. I was like, man.
And the crazy thing about it is, and Chris, I know you don't really watch TV, but Joe, you probably know about this. Like when he debuted back in NXT, he used to do these promos where he was just this cocky, arrogant guy. You know, he used to have the suit on, and you can go back and watch it on YouTube. But he was really good.
I probably won't look at it.
But he was really good with his promo, man. So that's why I wasn't surprised that he could cut a promo. I really didn't understand why did they have him coming out here every week smiling, and then the boos were getting louder, and it seemed like they were trying to drown out.
It feels like he can cut a promo, but it feels like he has problems cutting a promo that a person who's writing it for him in a storyline that he doesn't like.
Right.
That feeling really projects itself on the screen. I don't like this direction. I don't like the way it's being written. I could like this direction if it was written better, but I don't like the way it's being written, and it's all making him. It's like he psychs himself out before he comes out on the stage. I don't think they're gonna like it, and because he's probably afraid of that, that's how it comes off. And then the people don't like it, and then it snowballs. It gets worse.
And then he's like, but whatever I do, I still have to smile.
I gotta still smile. Next thing you know, John Cena calling you a bitch in front of a little girl on the third row, and you don't know what to do now because your merchandise is not selling.
Now it just seems like it just flows. It's so organic now, you know. And then now everybody loves Roman.
Peace. I'm the head of the tech. They should have done this years ago with the Simone family. You know what this? I don't know if I told you this, Joe. I think I had this conversation with Chris. This feels like the Hart Foundation. This feels like that right now. This could get big. I mean, you get the Uso brothers. You get Tamina. You get more people because there's way more people from this family than you think of. And then we'll talk about her in the future when Simone comes down. If this family stays connected for as long as it should, as long as they gave Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation, this could be big for him. One of the biggest staples that they've ever done if they do it right.
Yeah, right. And then to know that The Rock is willing to come back and fight Roman and take that loss. He even said it. He said, man, if I come back to the WWE and I fight Roman Reigns, it's only right for me to put him over, So just think if you have The Rock.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. If there's really a head of the table right now, it's The Rock.
Easy. Without a doubt. But that could be a good story. That could be a good story. Like, can you imagine The Rock coming down to the ring and just being cocky like he is? I'm the head of the table. Like, what are you talking about? Then that would be the perfect time for Roman to go fully heel, man. To just go crazy.
Yeah, it would have to be like a special match. You couldn't have face Rock versus Roman. Then they would be mad at Roman for doing. You would have to have like a heel Rock versus like a more heel Roman. So that way, the cocky Rock, they wouldn't feel bad, or really mad at Roman for, letting Roman put him over. And
I just realized something. Samoa Joe. Could come in. Is he gonna get in line? This could.
Yeah, they're doing everything right with Roman right now. I mean,
everything right.
He changed his wardrobe, so now he doesn't wear a vest to kind of get away from the Shield thing. I don't know if they're going to update the music. I was reading rumors. I do a lot of cage side readings, and they're pretty accurate for the most part. And they were saying that on top of The Rock facing The Rock potentially at WrestleMania, 37, that he would be creating a faction leading up to that, and then change his music, and even make him even more heel than what he is, which I don't know how, but man, his acting skills are on point too. When he fought Jey Uso for the second time recently, Hell in a Cell. You know, Jimmy came out and it was an I Quit match, but it wasn't like the old school I Quit match. It was the ref doing the calling it. And so, you know, even though he didn't want to, Jimmy was like, "What are you doing, man? This isn't you. We can work this out. And then Roman just like flopped down, broke down, and was like crying. He's like, "I don't know who I am anymore. And I don't know." He's like, "It's cool, man. It's cool." He's like, "Give me your hand." And he goes out to shake it. And then he doesn't let go. And then he puts him in a guillotine. So cold. And I'm like, I love Roman now more than I ever have.
That motherfucking Roman is the most relentless asshole I've ever seen, and I love it.
Joe was like,
Paul
I
Heyman
always
was like,
knew he
man,
had.
Paul
I knew
Heyman
he
had
had
that
it.
look, was like, man, Brock wasn't even like this.
No, I ain't gonna lie. I had a little man crush orgasm on that when I was watching that clip. I was like, oh yes, Roman. I love it, man. Man, I'm looking up right now online. So you got The Rock, you got Roman Reigns, you got the Uso brothers, you got Tamina. Oh, and what's her name? The other lady. I'm looking at it right now.
What other lady?
She's the female, the female wrestler,
Nia Jax.
Nia. You got Nia. Could you imagine that? They would dominate the female roster with Nia Jax and Tamina again. You got the Uso brothers. You got Roman Reigns. You got Samoa Joe. You got The Rock eventually. This family, if they all get in line behind this makes the name Roman Empire make sense. If they all get in line, this could be the strongest family staple ever. Like, it would make the Hart Foundation look so weak in comparison.
Well, Samoa Joe would just be added in as like quote unquote cousin, but he's not directly related, is he?
I don't
think so. I don't think he is.
I don't think you have to be. I mean, I'm sure that all of them are. I mean, you're in a tribe. You're in the tribe. You're in the community.
Right.
You don't have to be. You don't always have to be all blood related. I'm not related to my next door neighbor, but he's my neighbor. Like,
I do know one thing. If they did throw Samoa Joe, and that man is the perfect heel, and I don't think anybody
doesn't want to let him go. So when he had his injuries, that's why he's been commentating for a while now, because he had some concussions, and Vince doesn't really want to let him go, even though after they made some cuts because of everything happened.
Even if he's just commentating, could you imagine that? Like just like Jerry Lawler back when Jerry Lawler was always cutting for the bad guy for the heel and making excuses for that. Could be Samoa Joe's role. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Roman Reigns seems to be doing real good to me.
He's like the Corey Graves of Raw now. And then they brought in Byron because they basically switched the Raw and the SmackDown announce, since it's owned by Fox, they wanted to make SmackDown like the A show. And so they brought in Tom Phillips to be the commentator, or the main one, or moderator. And then they had Byron, be the face announcer, and then Joe be the heel announcer.
But yeah, I guess we all in agreement though, man. We like the direction that this is going. I've come up with some ideas that can improve it, but I think right now I feel like they're doing a great job with something.
I'm gonna tell you why I know that they're doing a good job, and this is for me, because I was so interested in the Fiend and his whole character development for the longest, but it seems like ever since Roman Reigns turned heel, I mean, that's the only thing that's really been super interesting to me. It's like, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, it was good what the Fiend did, but man, what did Roman do? I can't wait to see what he's gonna do Friday. So,
like, Alexa Bliss is still there, so that's still. I'm sorry. Ain't nobody love Alexa Bliss more than Joe love Alexa Bliss. Joe. We had this conversation a minute ago. Ever since she got with the Fiend. Why Alexa Bliss does? She was already at a max 10. How's she gonna hit a 12, 13, 14? How she do it? She was already
at
10.
You need to go back and watch. When she did Sister Abigail for the first time.
I think I saw it. I think I saw that.
Yeah, she did it on Lacey Evans on SmackDown, and right in front of the announce table. And she did that stare, that beautiful stare. and then just boom, Sister Abigail. So
we can make that a part of the next conversation about make that character, because that character development is
Perfect.
we can go on and on about it.
Yeah.
We'll do a whole love story on Alexa Bliss next later on. But for the end of the show, real quick, let's end it off with a person who hasn't. She's a part of the company because she's a legacy. She speaking on the theme of the Roman Empire. We're talking about The Rock's daughter. Was it Simone Johnson?
Simone Johnson.
Now this could be legacies. It's tough sometimes for legacies. They always got to live up to it. I mean, and The Rock's fame is the biggest, if not the biggest, of all time. That's going to be hard to live up to. Look what happened to Ric Flair's daughter, always being compared to Ric Flair until she finally had to chip away and get her own respect.
Right.
This is The Rock's daughter. Damn, like that is a shadow. That is a shadow. Like, what do you guys think about how she should come out? Because we already came up with our idea. Do you want to just come up with just go ahead and just talk about the idea that we all kind of talked about?
Yeah.
All right. So if you guys remember, I said they should mirror the way they tried to do The Rock, with forcing the name that he didn't want to take onto her, and have her almost go through the exact same thing. Like first she'll come out as what did I come up with? Rocky, call her Rocky Johnson or something like that, or I can't remember what I said.
Rocky Simone.
Rocky Simone, yeah, Rocky Simone. Because then you could bring back that old chant, Rocky, 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 and I think her name should be Rocky Simone. They might try to do. I feel like if they try to do a mirror of almost what they tried to do with The Rock, but if they could do it in a better way, like because he was supposed to be Rocky Maivia, and it didn't work because that's not what he wanted to do. He didn't want to have to lean on his grandfather and his father's name. But I think it's inevitable for Simone, because you're the daughter of The Rock, and The Rock is the biggest superstar in the world. He's currently making blockbuster movies. You can't. Everybody knows who you are, and you better be entertaining, girl. Because I ain't playing. So I think she should embrace it, and I think Rocky Simone should be her name, and I think that Rocky chant, she needs to bring that back. That's just my idea. So what about you guys? What do you think? Nobody's got anything better. I know. Well,
No, my whole thing is it's definitely going to be hard for her, because, like you said, she is The Rock's daughter, man. If we go back and we see what happened with Charlotte, just imagine what's going to happen to The Rock's daughter.
Charlotte did the carbon copy, the female version of Ric Flair thing, and it worked. And at the end of the day, it worked, because that was a cocky character kind of thing.
But I will say this: she would definitely have a shot if they don't try to turn her into The Rock, just like another Rock, and giving her the people's eyebrow, or any of the Rock moves.
Don't do any of the Rock moves. Don't do. What about you, Joe? What do you think? The only thing I'm thinking that she should take from her dad is the name Rocky, because everybody, even though his name was The Rock, they love to chant Rocky, Rocky. Now, bringing that back is that's the only thing I think. But what do you think? Like, should she copy move? Of course, she's gonna kind of wrestle like him. She's trained by him. But
right.
Do you think she should do the rock bottom? Do you think she should do the people's elbow? Do you think she should do the rock bottom?
If she does it, she's gonna get booed.
Yeah, the Rocky chant, I think, would be is a really good idea. It could be like the yes chant, it can be almost like everlasting, right? So I think that would be good for something they can incorporate. She would already be wrestling in NXT, I think, on the regular, but everything's kind of been delayed because I've been watching NXT now since my boy Balor went back and became champion there, and they kind of kept everything. They've been keeping everything stationary. They hadn't really moved anyone up just yet, because they haven't had the crowd come back yet. And I think, once they do, she'll probably start, debuting on NXT, and then really bringing that division up, because after Io Shirai, I'm sure she's the current NXT Women's Champion, and I'm sure she's going to be debuting soon on the main roster. And they're kind of missing some of the women because they even brought back Ember Moon back there.
Yeah,
and,
they did.
The NXT. So I think they're kind of lacking there. So I think they can get her going, and she can really capitalize in a time like this. And
now speaking on our last topic though, what about eventually if it's still a thing? What if Roman Reigns does a call to every Samoan wrestler? Should they try to tap Simone Johnson as well, or make that a stipulation? If I beat The Rock, if I beat you, then your daughter has to get in line and join the family.
I mean, it could. It worked for Dominic. I mean, Dominic went straight. He skipped NXT live events. He skipped NXT. Well, he skipped developmental, NXT live events, NXT live, and then the main and then went straight to main roster. I mean, he hasn't. I think he's had one win, and the rest were losses. But I guess that's kind of to compensate, skipping the line, so to speak.
And that's crazy. Yeah.
That's
crazy.
Anyway, it's worked for him. I mean, they really like it. I mean, he's a really good wrestler. He really is. And I think he had been training with Lance Storm and with, his wrestling company that he has and training facility he has for like the last, I was thinking he was only 18 still, but I think he's like 21, 22 now. So he's been doing it for 3-4 years in training prior to the debut. So, I mean, I think they could, with The Rock's daughter, they could definitely, of course, I mean, put something like that in, get her straight in, or at least get her exposed, because
it wouldn't give her a storyline. I mean, think about this. One of the things that helped The Rock transition to becoming The Rock was when he joined the Nation of Domination. That's when he was still Rocky Maivia. And when he joined the Nation of Domination, the Roman Empire could be the thing that could help her kind of get over. Like if the Roman Empire, I'm not necessarily saying that these guys or the Usos should wrestle in the NXT, just make their presence felt. Like, if you want to advance, you want to make it out of NXT quicker than what you want, then you need to get in line. Get with the family, and we'll help you get to the big leagues. So, and then she just like refuses, and like something like that. Like maybe she should refuse and stay in NXT for a little bit. Now, what are you saying, Chris?
And going back to her joining the Roman Empire, this just came to me. What would be interesting if she joined the Empire, but she was kind of like a China, how China was to D-Generation X, kind of cheating and low blowing people and helping them win. I think I think that'll probably work.
The slowly introduce people. But that works for an unknown. But I mean, everybody's gonna know that's The Rock's daughter, and they'd be like, why aren't you giving us your eyebrow?
True.
It'll be kind of hard for her to stay quiet in the background.
It probably
unless that was the part of the storyline that Roman, I defeated your father, and this is what you're gonna be doing. Kind of a thing. I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, because they could have coming in as like acting lessons, because that's what they were saying when I was reading about the rumors on Dominic's Rey Mysterio's daughter, because now she's in a love story with Murphy.
Yeah.
And they were saying that even though she does eventually want to wrestle, they've just been working on her acting skills to get her, into these promos and the storylines and everything. So it's kind of like a non-wrestling delay until she gets the proper training or gets more training. And then, eventually probably wrestle. So that could be something for The Rock's daughter that, could possibly happen. But, when they first started mid-March, when they started going away from the live crowds, and then they were, only bringing in developmentals into the crowd and spacing them out, they would always show her, like right before they cut to a commercial or when they were starting the show. They always made sure to point her out in the crowd. And I just thought that was interesting because she was always in different parts, standing in different areas. I think whether it was a Raw show or SmackDown, or I think mainly SmackDown shows when they were doing it. But, they were always showing her kind of like, I guess like a foreshadowing maybe.
I'm sure maybe, or Vince McMahon was probably just getting tired of the phone calls from The Rock. Like, hey, I don't see my daughter on TV. You fucking up.
Right.
So let me ask you guys this. Do you think when she, like, let's say she does debut and we get the crowd back, do you think they automatically are going to boo her, start booing her when she comes out, or
you never know with the universe. They're the most schizophrenic people in the world. We love you until we get tired of loving you. Like, I don't know. And then it depends on what city she comes out on. Because in England, she could be getting the biggest pop in the world. She comes
Then
back
she goes to New York.
Yeah, New York.
Yeah,
It's like
the way they
Chicago.
was
Chicago.
When they were at the performance center, I said the way they used to do it is they would have them at the performance center, and then either they would make the cut or they wouldn't. If they made the cut, they wouldn't necessarily debut on NXT Live. They would do what they call the live events, just like the WWE live events on the weekends. That's non-televised, so that way they get a reaction from the crowd, and if it's good and consistent over a certain period of time, then they go ahead and create their gimmick or their setup, and then they debut on live NXT. And WWE live events are a little bit different because it's more of testing, what's currently happening in the storylines, just to see how they would react. But yeah, that would be probably her first, I guess somewhat debut. It would be the NXT live shows on the weekend and see how the crowd reacts to her in different.
I don't think she should come out beating everybody.
Oh no. No.
Like from jumping. That's the same mistake they started to make with Roman Reigns when they wanted to make him a face, and pretty much the mistake they made with Goldberg when they had him undefeated for so long and whatnot.
Because people like the underdog. They root for the underdog.
They want to see you struggle. They want to see you struggle. I think it should be a struggle because, like you say, there's nobody higher than The Rock. And people are going to put that on her, no matter whether it's fair or not. So having her go through a trial by fire would just be would be better for her in the long run, because otherwise it's going to be like, they gave it to you because your daddy called Vince McMahon, so they gave it to you.
Like Charlotte. It goes right back to Charlotte, man.
It goes right
until Charlotte adopted that attitude where, I don't care what you say about me. I'm just gonna go out and just fuck you. You either like me, I do not care. I'm the queen. And then everybody Charlotte proved that when they forced her to be a triple threat, when everybody wanted Becky versus Ronda Rousey, they forced Charlotte down our throats, and it was awesome. And it was like all's forgiven because that was awesome. So sometimes Vince McMahon will make a decision that we all hate, and it was like, I'm sorry, Daddy. We should have listened to you from the beginning. It's usually sometimes that happens. So I guess it all depends on the day, the timing. Yeah, it's a lot of factors, man.
Sometimes there's too many factors. You never know, man. For all we know, she don't start wrestling. She'll do a great job, but then the crowd just start going, CM Punk for no damn reason. so let's find out what's going on. All right, guys. I'm gonna kind of right there, guys. That's the developmental show. You know what? I think in the middle of this conversation, I was thinking maybe next time we could talk about. It's recording. All right, I'm back. Okay, the phone was ringing. I was thinking maybe for the next show, maybe we could talk about like the fact that the WWE is like bringing back like old school things like. Not wrestlers, but like their moves and stuff. How the wrestlers of today are mimicking moves and stuff from the Attitude Era and things like that. And we'll talk about maybe that can be the topic of next week's conversation. Some of these staples and how they remind me of staples from back in the day and teams from back in the day. Like for example, real quick, just the foreshadow. MVP and his what's that group? What's that staple called again? With MVP,
the Hurt Business.
The Hurt Business. Why does the Hurt Business remind me of the Nation of Domination a little bit? Just a little, just that, or just a tad. Because I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. But I feel like it could become something like that. But I just feel like they're calling back to too much old school stuff, and I don't know. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. But we'll talk about that next time. All right, guys. For everybody that's listening, thanks. That's the podcast. You're here on Talking Through the Medias, and let us know what you guys think. Send you know how to reach through us. Go to t3medias.com/contact. You can add us at T3Medias on all the social medias. eventually if this program does well enough, you'll start seeing the developmental podcast pop up on its own things. But for right now, any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about, any suggestions, anything like that, any characters or storylines that you think we should talk about, send it to us at T3 Medias, and I'll put all those details here on the podcast information section below. And you can just, like I said, reach out to us and send us that. I'm Chris Fagan.
Yes, sir.
You can reach me at man, shut up, Chris. It's me time. I see that. I'm Chris Fagan. You can reach me on.
Hey, it's all right, man. It's the first show. It's the first show.
Man, you know what? I was going to introduce you first, but you know what, Joe, go ahead and sign off for us if you don't.
Yeah, this is Joe. It was a great show. Glad to be a part of it. Looking forward to the next one.
Awesome. And and that's Chris Haynes, but you don't got to talk about it. You gotta mind him with his play now. If do you have anything on social media that you want people to reach out to you on?
Yes. So the creator of the show. No, I'm just no. I'm Haynes, man. Yeah. Thank you, man. I can't wait to do it again next week. Let's go.
Yeah, it's a good show. I'm glad we said we could. We've been talking about doing this for a long time.
Time.
I'm glad we decided to get this conversation on. I think this is a good way to go with this podcast. Let's hopefully you guys don't flake out and be like, I'm too busy, sleepy.
Well, I'm happy to be doing it with you guys, man. I love you guys, my brothers.
All right, man. You're making me uncomfortable, man. All right.
Yeah,
I'm actually getting aroused.
Chris said he had an orgasm with Roman Reigns or something like that. I don't know.
Man, that's Roman Reigns, dog. You are no Roman Reigns, man. Or you ain't a champion. You don't got Paul Heyman. I would make out with Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman watching the way you see the way Paul be staring at Roman when he talks. I'm like,
that part gonna be edited out because we really went a different direction.
I'm secure in my masculinity for Roman. I love you, dog.
I'm with Joe. Let's edit this part out.
Hey, Roman, you the big dog, man. This is your yard. Could you imagine
big dog?
You big dude. Could you imagine making Roman that uncomfortable?
He's like, well, I'm not going on that podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Roman, how come you don't be telling me you love me like you be telling the other fan? Love you, dog.
All right,
I love you. Chief. I love your beard. All right. Before we go, real quick, here's another idea I thought would have been. I tweeted this. All jokes aside, I said, there's a rapper named is it Sedena or something like Sedena? He has a song called "Long Live the Chief." I said, look it up, hold on, let me see if I can look it up. Long Live the Chief by Jadena, Jidenna.
Oh yeah, Jake Denna, whatever. Jake
Denna. Yeah, look up the song "Long Live the Chief" by Jadena. That is Roman's new entrance music. That should be like Vince buy the rights to that song, because that should be the song. The way it comes, people want to be the king. They talking about rings, but long live the chief. It's just the way the hook goes. It fits his personality.
Well, I don't know. It probably sounds good, but I don't know if Vince is going to buy it.
I haven't watched SmackDown yet, but I read too that they were going to change his music. Now that he was creating
I'm telling you, long live the chief should be it.
Well, you heard what Batista said. He said he had RZA from the Wu-Tang. He made him a new theme song, but Vince was like, "Nope, I don't want it." When
it comes to rap music, Vince I hate man. Keep going.
Actually, it's funny you say that because when after they did the recent draft, normally they change the music. Fox decided to keep theirs because they had just recently changed it, I guess. So it's still considered new, but the Raw theme music is the first rap theme that I've heard. I think ever. It's usually
because
it's usually like rock music.
Oh, they switched it. They switched the theme song.
They switched the theme for Raw, so you should listen to it. It sounds like rap. It actually sounds pretty good.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna check it out.
I found the lyrics here. Jadena, long live the chief. I guess I won't say the word, even though I can. But fighting over reigns, they want to be the king, but long live the chief for a little old thing, little boy, bang bang. Because he does that. You know how he does that shot. Before he does that drive by. That to me that fits. Here you go. Wait. For a little old thing, little boy, bang bang. Long live the chief. I'm telling you, it fits. Listen, like all y'all listen to the song. You guys listen to the song later, then text me later. Let me know if you think I'm crazy or not. If that should be Roman's interest. If you don't agree, just tell me. Nah, that's whack. I don't care. I know I could be wrong, but I doubt it. All right, guys.
Okay. All right, man.
That's the show, the developmental podcast. Like I said, next week let's talk about some of these coincidences and these moves and stuff that they bringing back from the Attitude Era, and some other topics we'll come up with later on. Maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks from now. What do you guys think? Whenever we have time to get back together again, and we'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know the schedule. We can do it. Maybe we can do it next week.
Yeah, it'll probably be end of the week. That way we can get Raw and
SmackDown out the way.
Yeah, SmackDown out the way. So either Friday night or
Saturday. Yeah, Friday night or Saturdays. Yeah. Okay. All right. So make it a Saturday show or a weekend show. All right. So that's the show, guys. I appreciate it, man. And until next time, peace.
Peace.
Later.